Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together. My name is Ursula B, and I'm just a Black girl trying to get her shift together. So, tonight's episode, we're going to flip the script a little bit. Usually, my topics are geared towards women, really for anyone. However, we're going to talk about our brothers tonight. Let's give our brothers some love. Um, Black men, y'all are wonderful. And sometimes things go on in men's lives and we just don't know as women. So why not have a brother come on and talk about some of these situations and issues that may come up? So before we get into that, I'll be right back.
This for the queens, sisters manifesting their dreams. Get your cream by any means and beam with self-esteem. Beauty supreme and booty walk so mean. The way you fit in them jeans, you eat your cornbread and greens. Dance or a doctor, red wine or vodka. Redesign your spot and redefine your mantra. Retwist your locks and realign your chakras. Doing your squats and getting closer to God, huh? Brunching with your squad or taking a girl's trip. Adjust your crown, you God's gift to the world, sis. Celestial body, drink your water. Meditate, sun-kissed goddess, heavenly order. Levitate, tribe of Ashanti, black girl magic, melanin popping, whether you ratchet or lavish, whether you bougie or savage, you a gift and a treasure. You got to love a black girl getting a shift together. Black girls are getting a shift together. These black girls getting a shift together, man. These black girls are getting a shift together. These black girls getting a shift together, dog.
And we are back. Again, thank you for coming into another episode of Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together. Before we get into tonight's topic, let's go over some housekeeping. First, if you hear my voice, please click on the like or subscribe button so that you're showing your support for your girl or whatever audio podcast that you're listening to, whatever platform. It'd be great if you follow me on that as well as giving me a 5-star review. And also, your girl is now on Amazon Music. So whenever you listen to Amazon, make sure and click the follow button so you can follow me. Also, I want you to follow me on all of my social media platforms under Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together would be great. And share this podcast with at least 2 of your friends. All right? All right. So tonight's topic is about invisible battles that Black men go through with mental health. So, tonight's podcast is going to delve deep into the unspoken stories and powerful narratives that shape the lives of Black men today. So we're going to get ready to embark on an emotional journey that challenges the status quo, is going to dismantle toxic messages, and redefines the very essence of strength in a Black man. So in a world where vulnerability is often seen as a weakness with our brothers, but we're here tonight because we're going to flip the script. And instead of judging, we're going to empower our Black men and embrace emotional intelligence, which I cannot wait to get into that topic with Deon and about communicating fearlessly, as well as breaking free from barriers that have kept their mental well-being hidden in the shadows. So tonight we're going to shine a spotlight on this uncharted territory of race, discrimination, and the urgent need for change, almost as a state of an emergency, right? It's time to adjust the Black male perspective and equip ourselves with effective mental health tools and ignite a revolution of self-discovery, resilience, and empowerment. So tune in because the change starts right here, right now. And who's going to help us do that is Deon Brown. He is a therapist. Actually, he's the self-care therapist. He even has a book called that. But let's take him out of the waiting room. Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm well.
How does my voice sound? Is it still together?
It is perfect.
That made my heart flutter. Everyone, we had some technical difficulties literally right before we came on, but we're here tonight. So Deon, thank you so much for taking time out of your extremely busy schedule. Because I knew if we didn't reschedule, I probably wouldn't get you again until 2025. This brother stays on the go. He's either in the air or in the gym. So, speaking of the gym, before we get started, I know you are a health nut, a gym rat, which is great. And I can see the change in your face too, by the way.
Thank you. Appreciate
Yeah, that picture you sent me with your flyer, I was
that.
like, dang, this brother leaned out a lot. Because I
Yep.
saw some pictures from before when you
Uh-huh.
and I first connected. And I was like, wow, he's definitely leaned out. So this is going to be something. I want you to read on the screen what you see, and you have to pick one. One must go. No, we don't want that. There you go. Little icebreaker for everyone on the audio podcast.
So I'm a real strong fan of ice cream.
Well, can you read everything what you see?
I see donuts, ice cream, popcorn, and potato chips. My health coach would love this picture, and he would say all of them, but that's not realistic. I'm a real fan of ice cream, particularly butter pecan is number one, and then cookies and cream is number two.
That's my
Pistachio,
favorite.
pistachio is it almond? Is number three, I think. I'm a movie goer, so I need popcorn when I go to the movies. There's a psychological connection. Um, Donuts, I do them every now and then. Potato chips. I do have a question. Does potato chips connect to any type of chips or just
Any kind of chips.
oh yeah, so we're getting rid of donuts.
Really?
'Cause I love Fritos.
Okay.
We're getting rid of
So
bye bye donuts.
what
Okay.
about this? If you can read everything on the screen.
We have cookies and then cereal.
Oh, those are chips again.
Nachos?
We'll call them nachos. Why not?
And then the last picture is
Candies.
candy. Bye bye nachos.
Okay.
That was easy.
Okay. One last one.
Easy sushi. I don't eat it at all.
Okay. That was quick and easy. And everyone, you can put your Cindy said donuts. I'm gonna block you, Cindy. No. All right. So tonight we're going to talk about Black men and mental health and some of their invisible battles. Before we get into that, can you talk about the popcorn? You said there was a therapeutic. What was it you said?
So I have a psychological connection with movies. If I'm going out into a theater, I have to have popcorn with my movie, or it doesn't work out well.
Now, is it with any movie or is it with Marvel movies?
Any movie.
Oh, okay.
Not at home, but if I'm actually physically going to a movie, actually I need popcorn, some type of candy, and a soda.
Really?
Definitely popcorn though. It's not a movie. It's not a movie experience for me unless I have popcorn.
Okay. That's good to know. All right. So let's get into the meat of everything about Black men and invisible battles. What made you want to delve into that topic, that signature talk for yourself?
Well, okay, so I and you thank you for the your introduction, and just to
Yes.
add to that for anybody that may come on and listen later. So I'm a licensed clinician in Maryland and DC, self-care expert and mental health and wellness speaker, presenter, et cetera, et cetera. But with that being said, one of the subjects that I find important is working with and talking to Black men about their other Black men, excuse me, about their mental health. My private practice does take in a good amount of African American men. Some there, yeah, absolutely. Some their first time ever in therapy. Others, I started working with a young man today who's 23. He had two other therapists who did not look like him,
Right.
and he didn't connect well. And his mother found out about me through a mutual colleague, and we had a first session, and I could tell we connected very easily because sometimes one of the barriers for people, seeking out therapy or counseling or mental health, particularly Black men, is oftentimes, Black men are very biased about maybe who they will talk to, open up to, express their emotions. And so, which I get. And so, we're getting better in a culture, in a society with more people recognizing the need for people to not just, you mentioned I'm in the gym, but and it's great. And a lot of people, men and women, go to the gym, which is cool, and eat
Yeah.
well, which is fine. That's physical health. But now we're at a point in the culture and society, especially post COVID, where we are really giving emphasis as we need to mental health. So me being a Black male in America who's also a Black male clinician, I recognize the power of my voice to
Yes.
speak to another Black male and tell him you matter, you are important, your mental health matters, and you want to take care of that.
Ah, that
Sorry,
is
that was kind of long.
no, it wasn't long. It was actually powerful. So, ah, what I do at my full-time job, I'm around a lot of Black men and we talk about mental health, and I see the wall that's put up, the guardedness. So to see a Black man therapist that has an open connection or creates an open safe space for Black men to talk about their emotional feelings, that is so beautiful. I'm an advocate for it. I love the work you're doing, and thank you for everything you do in the community because it's so needed. Do you find that when the brothers come in that they're, before they get past that barrier, do they come in guarded, or everything is okay until you uncover some layers?
Well, very good question. It depends on. It can depend, and I generally don't have a lot of issues with connecting. Right?
Ah,
My approach with all of my on my one-to-one people, and even when I do talks and presentations and workshops and seminars, whether virtual or in person, my approach is definitely very um, personable, and I bring my personality to my work with my clients. So usually by the first few moments of 15 minutes, maybe of the session, like the young guy I met today, he was sitting up on the edge. He was, first of all, he was very happy to see another face that looked like his.
yes.
But he was sitting up on the edge of his seat. I said, it's cool, man. You can sit just like that. I said, it's cool, man. You can sit back and relax. You're going to be good. This is going to be an easy process. And me saying that to him, me being a older Black male than him, because he's like 23,
Right.
he was able to accept that and relax. So I'm grateful. I don't have a lot of challenges with connecting. Some men come themselves, some men's significant others refer them or friends. So I generally don't have much problems connecting.
Mm,
Very good question.
great. We have a comment here. Cindy said needed to hear this topic today. Absolutely. And if anyone listening, if you have any question respectfully for Deon, just put them in the chat. Just put them in the chat. So as far as when you talk to the brothers, do they hmm, do they, is this their first time hearing about emotional intelligence or that they even have feelings?
Oh boy, that's like you just um that's definitely a loaded question on two fronts. Sometimes the phrase. So when we talk about, let me go back for a minute. We talk about emotional intelligence, this word in our culture and society, it really, there's different domains of emotional intelligence. Um, I have a few colleagues who do a lot of structured work and presentations on it in detail. But one of the most
Really?
important, yeah, one of the most important, and I could give you one of their names later, but one of the um, most important domains of emotional intelligence is awareness. You know, I need to be aware of what I'm feeling. Now, a lot of men when they come into counseling or therapy, I like to ask questions, so I don't, and I like to say it in a way that doesn't insult their intelligence. So I'll say, "Have
Yeah.
you?" Question: Have you? I'm wondering. I'll say something. Have you ever heard the phrase emotional intelligence before? I'll say it like that. And some say yes, some say no. See, it's all that this whole thing with the human interaction and relations. It's about how you relate to people socially, and that can open up the door to people talking, sharing, or shutting down. And so some
Mm,
people, yeah, some people have heard the phrase emotional intelligence. Some say, no, I don't know what it is. So I'll start talking and say, well, part of it is you being aware of what you're feeling. That's first before you can share with anybody, before you can talk to your buddy, your homeboy, your wife, your girlfriend, your significant other, your side piece, whoever, whoever, because they tell me everything in session. My
yeah.
therapy space is pretty open. But what I do to help grow people's emotional intelligence, I use a emotional chart. And so on the back in the physical office, there's one in this office right now. On the back of the door is a 64 item emotional chart that's color coded. And then for my virtual people, I send them a more extensive color coded wheel. And what happens at the beginning of every session is clients are challenged to pick between 2 to 3 emotions they felt since the last time we met. That's how we start.
Mm,
That's how I start every single session with every single client, having people, challenging people to look within, do some introspection, go within yourself and share with me what you've been feeling in your inner world. Okay. And then
mm.
we can talk about the circumstances and situations around those feelings because before you communicate any of that to anybody else, you got to know what you've been feeling and why.
Wow, that's real right there. Ooh, especially with a lot of us, including myself, who've grown up in households where you would actually be persecuted for having an emotion.
Absolutely.
And what do you have to feel bad about? You're fed, clothed, you have shelter. Go to your room, be quiet. I'm sure that's sounds familiar. You've heard that before, right?
I have. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yep.
I know it's left me out of touch with my emotions, and in turn had, we keep it real, relationships with men who
Hmm.
were out of touch with their emotions. So
Sure.
then we're just like, you were just missing each other. It's just, it
Yeah.
works until it doesn't.
It does. And when we talk about childhood and people growing up and developmentally in their household and social learning, people can definitely and do share that they were in situations or circumstances. I have a new 24, 20, about 25, 26-year-old male who in his household, dad was a very intimidating person,
Mm,
military background, and God help him if he dared share that he was angry or frustrated or something.
mm,
Some emotions for him were not safe to acknowledge or show. And so he is learning to come back from that and to tap into his real emotions. And I'll say to people, it's okay. No, it's okay to it's okay to get angry, be angry,
yeah.
be disappointed, to be frustrated, feel neglected, to feel hurt, to feel alone, to feel isolated. What you do with your emotions matter.
Have you come across any unique challenges that Black men face in expressing their emotions?
Oh God, yes. So
Really?
whew, yeah, let me see. Let me see. Let me try to make this short because
You know, you can always come back for a part two now.
of course, absolutely, absolutely. We're tied to the hip for sure.
Yay! That's what I want. I'm glad you said that. Everyone listening, click if you want more of Deon, because I know you do, this brother has a lot of valuable information. We've done about 2 or 3, maybe definitely 2 other episodes. So I put one in the chat description box already right now. So watch this first, but then go back and click on it, and then you'll see
Yep.
all the gems that this brother drops.
Yep. Yep. Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
So one of them is growing up for black men definitely that's a lot. One can be definitely growing up in a environment or setting where it wasn't cool for them to express their emotions. Maybe they were um come across a tremendous amount of black men where they grew up in settings where it wasn't okay to cry,
Yes.
and I slowly and strategically work with them to dismantle that message and to talk with them and tell them that crying is neither crying and shedding tears. There's a lot to it. Crying and shedding tears is not masculine or feminine. It's human. That's quotable right there. That's quotable right there. It really is.
I
It
love
Yeah.
that.
It's not masculine or feminine. Crying is not masculine or feminine. It's human. And every human is capable of shedding tears. And then there's research that indicates that the actual shedding of tears helps remove toxins from the brain.
Mm.
Um, I learned that from a psychologist or psychiatrist, excuse me, friend of mine. But crying is neither masculine or feminine; it's human. So I have to work with them to help them to see that it's okay to feel. You can feel. I said to so many, you can feel. It's okay for you to. I've had clients get teary in session, and and I struggle sometimes because I'm a therapist. That I'm the type of therapist. I'm not just a therapist who just woke up and just decided to work with people and work with through their issues and problems. When clients come into my caseload, I take them on like they almost like they belong to me, right?
Oh, that's what's
So
up.
I
That's
do, I do. So I'm really for them, and I becoming connected and attached and emotionally connected to them. So what's challenging for me sometimes as a black man is walking with one of my fortunately one of my clients that I just saw last week. He texts me today. See, I'm getting emotional thinking about, but his father just passed suddenly,
mm.
and he needed a sudden 10 to 15-minute session because he's scheduled to go somewhere tomorrow, fly away. And he was like, should I go? Should I not? What does this mean? Should I tell my friends? Yeah. So we had to work through that. So I when I'm in session with people, I feel, I've had black men struggle in session. I remember one guy, police officer. I got so many stories. He struggled in session with me. Something was going on with him and his wife. He was getting teary. Big brother, like much bigger than me. And he because he was in the room with another black male, maybe there was a part of him that was wrestling from releasing those tears.
Oh, I believe it. Wow.
And I picked it up and I said, listen, I said his name. I said, it's okay. It's okay. You can cry.
Mm.
And let me tell you, yeah, I'm having flashbacks thinking about it. And when I said that, the tears just started flowing down.
Oh, it's gonna make me cry. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
It's black society, the culture, this
Mm.
notion of toxic masculinity messages. You don't cry, men don't cry. I've been telling my clients that's garbage. That's
It
just
is.
throw that out the window. You're no less of a man because you cry or you get emotional. Yeah, okay. Gender wise, women typically are more emotional. Okay, we kind of know that, but you have an emotional side to you too as a man, and it's fine to tap into those emotions. So I work whenever I hear stuff that comes out of people's mouths, and sometimes I'll say, "Oh, where did you get that type of thinking from?"
It's funny. I have a twofold question. One is, what would you suggest? Because I've heard mothers and fathers say this too with little boys. They hurt themselves. You're a big boy. Big boys don't cry.
Mm, mm. Yeah, that's
What
right.
What would you suggest to that? And then I'll share a story after that.
Whew, Lord, that's see that's a good example of early. So we have this stuff that we this mess that we pass down generationally and culturally,
Yes.
and we just say it. We just say it and pass it down because we heard it and somebody you know parented us this way, and you know a lot of times what happens is the grown man or lady comes into therapy and they're like, oh, this stuff I learned from my mother or my father, it's not
Mm,
good for me.
yeah.
And I don't want to carry these messages about me or my life the rest of my life with me.
Wow.
Yeah, because that's a bad state, negative, very negative statement that's deposited in that young boy early.
Exactly.
Because boys should cry. That's natural and normal and human. Men should cry. Natural, normal, and human. Girls, women, crying is healthy. Being angry is healthy. Again, it's what you do with it. Feeling disappointed, uh, feeling disrespected, Lord, you know, uh, feeling frustrated is what you do with it.
I love that you have that what the emotional wheel, the feelings chart. So I'll tell you offline the details, but something happened today, and one of my friends, she asked me, "Well, how do you feel about that?" And because this just happened, um I said, "Well, I'm right now I'm numb." And
Mhm.
it was very challenging for me to tap into how I was feeling because I'm still processing what was going on, what had happened. I said, "Oh, hold on, let me get," because I have my wellness wheel in my phone. Let me
Mhm.
pull up my wheel. And so I pull up the chart, and it was just looking through, I was able to identify at least five
Wow.
true, authentic emotions that I felt. And it's something powerful to put language to how a person feels,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
And I believe when you do hold it in, it truly is like a powder keg, and you just shaking it up. And so I mentioned that. Do you remember that show? Oh, I cannot. American Gladiators,
I remember it coming on. Yeah.
a long time ago, right? So there's this special on Netflix, and they interviewed the the people that were on it, the gladiators. And so one of the men that was on there, he said that he didn't get along with his father. They just did not have a good relationship, and it was a lot of toxic masculinity. And throughout his life, he was always trying to get the validation from his father, right? And he felt like a powder keg. On top of that, he was taking roids, and it was just a volcano getting ready to happen. Well, it just so happened that another gladiator, who was his roommate in real life,
Mm.
was going through the same issues with his father. It was a different script, but it was the same book. And one day, one guy triggered the other, and instead of them talking about it, really their feelings were hurt.
Mm.
So instead of tapping into that emotion, their way they always known was through aggression, and they got in a fight in the car,
Wow.
almost got in a car wreck, got out, ended up getting out of the car, and was fighting on the sidewalk and finished, and they were bloodied. And then they said, "I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry too." And then they hugged each other and started crying. And then he said he felt so much better after that. He said he just hated that he had to break his friend's nose and realize it after the fact. But anyways, fast forward, he ended up going into therapy. He felt like that was the best thing because he knew he had all this aggression, but really it came down is that he was angry with his father, and
Yep.
he had to tap into his inner child. And now he's into yoga, meditation, and he's very tapped in. So that was a real cool story that he has shared.
Okay. Yeah, I get it. That makes a lot of sense. Sometimes people are acting out because of other stuff that's present.
Right, right.
The other part of emotional intelligence is after you figure out what you're feeling is finding some sort of safe way to communicate that and express that. So I do mostly individual work. Now and then I'll do some couples, not a lot because it's a lot more stuff to deal with.
Excuse me, when you say individual, meaning one-on-ones?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
I do most one-on-one, one-to-one work. I will work with people around now that you are aware of what you're feeling. Let's work on some communication skills. Um,
Ah.
help you better communicate. So I'll tell my clients who are in relationships, I'll say, your lady or your wife or whoever significant other will they're gonna really love me for working with you on your communication because they're not gonna have to really beg much for what you're feeling.
I know that's right. We need to give you a Nobel Peace Prize because that's it's needed.
It is.
It is. And so in my group therapy, currently we are learning about nonviolent communication.
Mm-hmm.
Never heard of it before. And it was very challenging because I like what you said about the communication. So you actually said the effective communication because I'm sure, like most women and people in the chat, let me know. We think we're very communicative, like we're actually saying something, but it was never effective communication. Does that make sense?
It does. It definitely
Yeah,
makes. I get it. Yeah, that makes sense. Hmm.
yeah, exactly. So, how can we cultivate a safe and supportive environment for Black men to share their emotions, and not only share their emotions, but to be vulnerable without fear on their end or feeling like they're being judged or criticized?
Okay. So I think number one is recognizing that certain messages about men having emotions and expressing those emotions, really labeling those messages as unhealthy and toxic. I think that's number one. Number two, I do encourage people in their social, people come in to see me. They have a safe, I reserve space. I save space for them. They have a safe space to come in and talk about anything, anybody, however they need to do it. But outside of the professional therapy space and room, I do encourage people to look at their social networks, the brothers to look at their social networks and start to develop 1 to 2 people at least in their social network that they start to be open with and vulnerable with, to talk to share in their social network for when they're not in the therapy space.
Hmm,
Um, that's
I
number
like that a
yeah, that's
lot.
number two. And then number three, men being able to connect with and talk in various community groups with men, whether that's mentorship groups, men's meetings, church men's groups. All of those are
Mhm.
areas of community, and with that,
I like
we understand that because a lot of just the backwards way that sometimes as men we think I got this issue going on, this struggle, this problem, I got it, I'm a man, I'm
that.
gonna
Yeah.
handle it, I'm gonna deal with it myself. No, okay, deal with it some yourself, but tell your brother. Because we're not alone and isolated forever, so it's healthy. That sense of community is a sense of community, and attaching to a sense of community is a definitely a healthy coping skill for men.
So, what I hear you saying is to get an accountability partner.
You could do that, or you can have an accountability group. I have clients who have a group. One of my guys is going through very difficult marriage situation right now, and I said to him, and he's thinking about walking away.
Right.
and I said to him, "Have you shared have you shared what's going on with A, B, and C, this group of guys?" And he was like, "No, I didn't mention it to them yet." So one of the last times we met, that was his homework that I
Mm.
gave him, because I'm aware this is situation critical for him, and he's coming in to see me. And so what I did, because it's so critical, I did intensify how often he's coming in to see me. And I have him also outside of the therapy space tapping into his social network for his friends.
Wow.
Community.
Yeah, I like that. Um, so sharing personal experiences can contribute to breaking down some barriers. Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know how much support black men in America will get from the powers, policies, and systems that that exist. What we Let me go here. I'm gonna go here. What we
Yeah.
you see why I did this. You know what we because what we saw and
I go
go
ahead.
I'm going. I'm going. Because what we really saw from a psychological perspective, this hit me the other day. What we really, and I probably would have joined it. What we saw from the Alabama situation was black men saying, "Enough, we're tired."
Yes.
So, thus, you have repercussions and consequences. The attackers. So they said, "We're tired. Enough."
I was going to ask you about that perspective, and you just gave it to me on a silver platter.
Yeah, I was completely fine with everything from beginning to end.
Me too.
Right. You play games, you get prizes.
That was wild to me.
Me
It
too.
was, I could not believe it, but I could.
Same.
It's just, and yeah, the
And of
meme.
course, and of course, because I'm a very strong superhero fan, I love the thousands of superhero memes I saw.
I saw your Avengers one.
Mhm.
I didn't have time today. I was gonna post that on here with the Avengers because I know you are definitely an Avenger. So speaking of that, on Alabama, what was one of the Avengers that you saw on that Alabama brawl that comes to mind?
Thor. Yeah, Thor, and him holding out his hand, and the chair coming to him like his hammer would come to him. So
Classic genius.
very,
Oh my
very
god.
much so. Very much so.
So I definitely would love for us to do a part two. But before we do that, let's talk about your book, and
Sure.
let's talk about um, why you are the self care therapist, the expert on it.
Yep.
Let's talk about it.
Sure.
And while Deon is talking about his book, everyone, I'm going to drop his link to his book right now in the chat, and I really challenge you all to purchase it. Take a look at it. Um, I'm proud of you. I remember you were
Thank you.
doing it and you did it. Like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
didn't talk about it anymore. You were with it. So yeah, let's hear about it.
And at the end, I'll share some things with my overall website at the end, because I just had a final update, so there's a lot of stuff there now. But
Excellent.
and there's a area of the website that has the book on it as well. But um, non-negotiable self-care. My book became a bestseller, and it is a one-stop shop for all things self-care. The book really focuses in on what self-care is, what it looks like, how to achieve it. It deals with why people wrestle and struggle with self-care.
Mm,
It deals with self-care that's tailored to various demographics. So there's a section on self-care with men, with women, for couples, the elderly, people in the workplace, as well as religious leaders. There's clinical case examples. I talk about my own self care journey. There's a thing I call the self care core four, and there's an acronym in the book that one of my colleagues, we call him the juggernaut therapist, Purnell. Uh, he developed the acronym RAN HIGH, which taps into the four self care items that are very important, and that's all in the book, as well as this information for newbies, new people to start. Down the path of developing their own self-care. So because I had been focusing so much for years with my practice clients on self-care, I decided to, write a book and then start moving in a direction of, talking about, sharing all things related to self-care, and that's through videos, pictures, posts, infograms, et cetera, et cetera.
right. That name, the Juggernaut Therapist, that is a dope name. I love that a lot.
Yeah, he labeled he is his that's when you go to Instagram you'll see, and he encompasses that look actually.
Does he?
He does.
Let me go back and look on this Juggernaut there. Where's he located?
He's he's in and actually he's doing very well, very successful. I think he more so developed like some sort of mental health clinic. So he's like an executive running the whole thing now, doing very well. He's in Florida though.
Awesome. That's good. Let's talk about your website.
Yep.
And I just dropped that in the chat as well for everyone. Please go and I challenge you to explore it.
The website is there. It's there already. I'm looking.
I'm
Under,
gonna put it in. I put your
okay.
link
Link.
tree. There's
Got
your website.
Okay, cool. So my website now is also a all encompassing, all one-stop shop for all things related to me and what I'm doing. I have been working on a few things that I have not fully released yet because I'm summertime moving about and traveling. But we
Yes.
have done an update to my website. So the website has my therapeutic statement on it now,
Mhm.
mentioning that as the self-care therapist, I specialize in working with individuals, companies, and corporations to help improve their self-care through practical tools and tips. The website now has some more photos, a full bio, a short bio that people can go to and download. The website has a testimonial section now with
Ah.
from readers of my book, from individual clients, and from about 4 to 5 organizations that I've spoken at doing mental health and wellness presentations as well. The website has a link to my book. I also have a apparel shop that has 4 self-care t-shirt designs, 4 different designs, and people can go to the website and click on that particular shirt design for men and women and can come in different colors.
Ah, I like it. I'm looking at your self-care. Oh, protect your mental health. The one that says workout is self-care. That is definitely you.
And working out is self-care. Yep.
Yes. Deon, he lives in the gym and it's showing. And this t-shirt is awesome. I'm looking at it right now on your website. That's pretty good. That's real good.
Thank you. Thank you. There's a section of the I mean, I'm going and I'm looking. I'm not looking at it right now, but I'm just thinking right off the top of my head. There's a section on the website that has, I believe, it's speaker speaker highlights. So there's a media section with a bunch of places that I have spoken at. There's videos. There's a few videos. There's a bunch of graphics of me out in the community, graphics from my book signing when I was in New York earlier this year speaking. And there's a speaker sheet, two
Yes.
parts of a speaker sheet, and that speaker sheet has a picture of me, my bio, some other contact information. Then the other speaker sheet has a picture of me and some entities and organizations that I've done work for or spoken for. There is a spirituality section now on the
Mhm.
page, and in that section, I'm going to really start mentioning this more later this year and next year. There's a section that talks about, in addition to the self-care work, my other brand deals with integrating mental health and spirituality. And I have started that pathway some, but there's going to be more of that. So what's going to happen is I'm going to be offering clinics for churches, particularly. And if churches want to bring me in for a weekend to speak for their regular service and or to do some sort of mental health related workshop or seminar, they can book me for a weekend. And so those clinics are going to focus on men, youth, and church leaders.
That
So
is amazing.
yeah. So in that section, people can see some of the areas and topics that we focus on for men, youth, and church leaders. But there's also two sermon clips on that website as well now.
I saw it.
Yeah.
You look nice in one of these pictures.
Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry. One more thing. Earlier on the other side of the website, I believe maybe in the about Deon section or where to find Deon, there's a one of those drop down list the um
Let's
list
see.
some of the that's another place where one of the drop down lists some of the signature talks, I think.
Yes, the signature talks
With the
and
description. With a description.
and the about Dion. So I absolutely love the idea of Jesus and therapy. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah, for sure.
I subscribe to both. I believe they can coexist.
Yes, they can.
Absolutely. And I trying to be careful with my words. Both can exist. That's what I should say. Both can exist, and one they both can live together and be just as effective.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'm loving that. So, any parting words?
I think, I think for people who are looking or listening to this or come back to this, that, with with black men in particular, it's very important that as we take care of um our other aspects of our health, our physical health, um, you know, kids, significant other. I like to tell all of the men, which I heard recently in a location, that you matter,
Yeah.
that you are important, and taking care of your mental and emotional well-being is critically important. um,
Mhm.
and that can happen a number of ways. That can happen for you via therapy, one-to-one counseling with a professional. You can go to get engaged in group therapy with some other people that you feel comfortable and safe talking with and to. That can happen through journaling. You can incorporate as healthy coping skills things like exercise, meditation, deep
Yes.
breathing, hiking, travel, nature, retail therapy. The list goes on and on. So it's very important that you create for you what I like to call your own self care toolbox.
Yes.
Those are things that cater to you. So I would just want to encourage you to make sure in all you're taking care of other people, that you take care of you first.
Love it. Love it. Love it. Deon, thank you so much for coming on. Always one of my favorites to come on. It's always an easy dialogue all the time. And it's just, I don't know, I always learn a lot and always wanting to hear more. So this is great. Everyone, please tune in next week. We have a double dose next week. So next week, I have a conversation with a diagnosed narcissist. So yeah, and this is part 2 from the conversation. Yes. So that's next Wednesday, and then next Thursday is a bonus show, and it's about someone who is rebranding themselves, rebranding their business as well as their life and starting over, and she will share details about that. So thank you for all for tuning in on this episode of Black Girls Getting Their Shift Together. Once again, thank you again, Deon. I really appreciate you.
Absolutely. Glad to be here anytime.
Thank you. Good night, everyone.
This for the queens, sisters manifesting their dreams. Get your cream by any means and beam with self-esteem. Beauty supreme and Buddha walk so mean. The way you fit in them jeans, you eat your cornbread and greens. Dance or a doctor, red wine or vodka. Redesign your spot and redefine your mantra. Retwist your locks and realign your chakras. Doing your squats and getting closer to God, huh? Brunching with your squad or taking a girl's trip. Adjust your crown, you guys give to the world, sis. Celestial body, drink your water. Meditate, sun-kissed goddess, heavenly order. Levitate, tribe of Ashanti. Black girl magic, melanin popping. Whether you ratchet or lavish, whether you bougie or savage, you a gift and a treasure. You got to love a black girl getting a shift together. Black girls are getting a shift together. These black girls getting a shift together, man. These black girls are getting a